Hi, this is video number 2 in a series about what women need to know about men, would like to know, may benefit from knowing. And of course, as everything, this is a mystery. Do I know? Do you know? This is my experience coming forward. I'd like you to imagine a moment. Here I am at a men's initiation weekend. The biggest, strongest, most muscular fellow you can imagine, tattooed and fresh from prison, is crawling along the floor, going through a process where he has envisioned me as his ideal dad, as opposed to the dad that was never there for him. And here this rough, tough, scare me on the street, scare you on the street fellow comes into my arms and cries like a baby. And I comfort him from this position of being the ideal father in this sacred theater sort of situation we've created. This is the level at which I see men, and now have for almost 20 years in my counseling as a yoga teacher and in the Mankind Project, where we do these kinds of powerful shifts in people's lives. See men as the vulnerable, amazing creatures they are. We create a safe enough container. The possibility of actually trusting other men occurs, and here we get to have men face the thing they've been avoiding their whole life. In the case of the situation I was describing, the kind of man who has never had a safe relationship with a father, didn't know, didn't get blessed by a father. And I get to be in the role, just for that little brief period of time, of being that ideal father that he has wanted his whole life. Well, imagine the recognition I get that there was nothing wrong with that man. Not from the time he started being involved in incarceration to the time he crawled into my arms. And we both cry for a long period of time because we have this resonant understanding of one another. So whether it's your father, brother, husband, lover, friend, son, all men have this thing in them to be found rather than fixed. In the first of these episodes, I talked about there is no way to get through, a barrier to entry, without recognizing that that's how men were trained. Never quite good enough. You have to always be protecting yourself from being judged by the world around you as not quite good enough. And many are so wounded, that's how they live their life. Never going to be good enough. And project that onto every situation and live it in their sense of shame and not good enoughness, and have all of these defenses and ways in which they deal with it. Well, the place I'd like to concentrate today is this idea that men need to be found, not fixed. That there's a circumstance where they can feel safe that's required. There's an opportunity where they can feel as though they are okay and just need to step into it. And in relationship, that's frequently a big challenge, because we will, after many a weekend, have the experience of having the men come to us and say, their loved ones saying, this is the man I had dreamed I could have, and he has never quite lived up to my expectation of him, but I could see that person in there. And here's the thing I would like you to hear today. See that thing. And at some point in their lives, men do get to the point where they are no longer willing to continue the kind of suffering that they've been having. Whatever tactics we've been using, all the ways in which we try, it's no longer good enough. And the pain has gotten to the point where I need relief from it. And that's when you can be there and hopefully invite someone like me in to help be the guide, to help them, now that they're found, come out and show themselves as their open-hearted, beautiful self in the world. And then be there to support that process, because every habit and every pattern that we live into requires a certain amount of time and the support of a loving environment to keep it growing and keep it strengthening until it can handle itself. Look, the word trying triggers me all the time, because it is like that Yoda piece, like, oh, let me see you try to move your arm. It doesn't move. If I try to move my arm, but if I move my arm, it moves easily. This is a sense that I get all the time, that as a young man, I remember trying out for Little League, and I tried so hard. I was going to be the best, and they were going to see me, and finally I was going to get to play sports and be on a team. And so I dived for balls, and I remember the effort I put in. And that is the way I later and kept living my life. I remember coaches saying, give 110%. Now, I was pretty smart in school and good at math, and it never struck me the insanity of giving up more than 100%. And yet that's what we are semi-consciously programmed to do. Try more than enough. Always be beyond the limit of peace inside and acceptance that this is just who I am. And so the kind of anxiety and neurosis I'm talking about happens in men's lives. I think it happens in all of our lives, but especially for men, because we buy into the system that we're supposed to be something, and then we try really hard to do it, and we fight to get enough money, and we fight to get enough love, and we fight and we try, and we're gonna, and that there's something somewhere along the line that cracks. And when that crack occurs, when that time happens that the man says, I just have given up, it's as though there's a sort of, in many cases, people use it in terms of a religious conversion, and you fall to your knees and you just give yourself up to the other. Well, since I don't see much difference between the other and myself, and that it's connected in ways that don't require a separation, a duality between whatever is divine and me or you, there is a possibility at that moment of saying the whatever is divine is in me as well as outside of me, and I can now start to manifest whatever natural, whatever authentic, whatever spontaneous and heartfelt, soulful energy that can come through. And that's the basis of this particular offering, that the trying to be someone blocks me immediately. If I can use any of my yogic terms here, it's like meditation. Meditation isn't anything, and I don't even like to use the term meditation. I just say, just go sit, and just sit there until something starts to dawn on you about the circumstance of what goes on in your mind and how you are holding life. It's just a matter of time, taking the time to become present, curious, and patient about this chaos and craziness that surrounds us. And at that moment, there's some little piece of, wait a minute, there's nothing that separates me from everything I want and everything I need. It is only the barriers I've been putting in front of myself, saying, I have to try to get happiness. I have to try to get joy. I have to try to have love, as opposed to it's there, it's here, it's everywhere, and I can just open to it, accept that it's there. And those of you who are watching this, females, I'm sure, know how challenging it is frequently to get your man to really feel the love you feel for him. He doesn't quite trust it. He doesn't quite know how to accept it. He doesn't quite know how to, because the conceptual reality is it's a separate thing. I've got to earn it, right? So I'll try and I'll do everything I can, and then get frustrated when all of my efforts to show you how much I love you, you have a natural emotional reaction and they get it personally. I have failed to show you enough of my love to get you to be happy all the time and in love with me all the time, right? So it sets up this crazy drama of I need something else from outside to prove I'm lovable, to get my validation. So if you sense that there is a way and that there's an opening now, and that the man in your world, father, son, brother, friend, lover, partner, is ready to open, is seeking a way out of the trap that he has produced to defend himself in this world, reach out. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn, and link below here on the screen, and see if I can be that guide to help the man find his way back out and be able to be okay just as he is. He's magnificent. You know it. I know it. He just doesn't know it yet. He senses it. And in a safe environment, in a place where he can have the time to practice these new ways of being, when he can, because I think what I offer in addition to what everyone else offers in cognitive therapies and various coaching modalities, is a kind of body wisdom, the egoless wisdom that comes from the body, and the yogic techniques and the ways of being able to get to a relaxed enough state to feel safe in his own little personal container. I'll be glad to help. And it's my life's work now. I think I'm fully prepared and have spent many, many years on these paths that don't go anywhere. I now can rest in a center place sometimes and be available as a place to be present for your man. I thank you for your attention and wish you all the best.